It's the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion. This is for Friday, the 12th of July. I'm Michael Groff. Pretty bad case of allergies today. We're going to try and get through this video without too much sniffling and sneezing and coughing, but no promises, okay? All right, a lot going on. We've got temperatures once again pretty close to record territory today, but the good news is monsoon moisture is increasing. We will see chances of showers and thunderstorms picking up, especially over the higher terrain this weekend, but some storms possible here in the lower deserts, although rain chances aren't quite as optimistic as what they were looking like earlier this week. Still, we do expect a number of showers and storms, even in the lower deserts, particularly on Sunday. That still looks like it's going to be the most active day, and there could be a few severe storms around as well. All right, what about the weather for next week? Will the heat return in earnest? Will we see more record high temperatures falling by the wayside? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about everything else going on too in just a moment. But before we do that, a couple of house cleaning things to get to. First, I do my Willard Scott impression here by shouting out, giving a happy birthday to Michelle's mom, Nina Scott, 83 years young today. And then Michelle's brother, Ed, he's going to turn, I'm not going to say how old he is, but I will say he's having a birthday. Happy birthday. And Michelle's youngest daughter, Adriana, is 10 years old, not today, but on Sunday. So that'll be this weekend. So a lot of birthdays going on in Michelle's family. So happy birthday to everyone there. Okay, now, of course, on top of all that, it is Friday, and that means it's Photo Friday here. That's where we take a look at some of the photos and or videos that you guys have submitted, and boy, oh boy, do we have a lot to get to in that department. Okay, first up, David Parnell. These are from Newark, New Jersey, earlier this month. Yes, it was hot, it was humid, upper 80s, low 90s on most days, a little bit of rain around as well. Oh, man. I mean, the heat has been on across much of the nation, but some places have really had it bad. Now, not as bad as out here in the West. Speaking of the West, Chris Martin. These are from Yellowstone. He and his wife managed to get out of town, head up there, hopefully for some cooler weather, although it wasn't quite as cool as you might have thought it was. Heat was quite prominent out here across the West and has been for a while. I don't know if Yellowstone established any records this week. I did not see that, but it was pretty warm. Then we have this picture from Miles in Palm Desert. Speaking of hot, boy, Palm Desert, Palm Springs, 29 palms, all the palms across Southern California, everywhere. Just lots of record high temperatures again out there. So stay cool, everybody. And then this is not a weather-related picture, okay? This is just something that Nathan sent in, and he said that there was a car crash that occurred, went into his house, apparently, did some damage, quite a bit of structural damage to the house. Obviously, the car got totaled out here. And again, I know it's not necessarily weather-related, but we always tell you it's Photo Friday. You can send in other stuff if you want, I guess, not necessarily weather-related. I mean, we've shown cats, dogs, birds, satellites, the planets, all sorts of things here. This is a full service video. It just happens to be mostly related to weather, but we do appreciate those pictures. That's crazy. Life happens. Boy, let me tell you, do we ever know that here at the old Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion? Now, here is William. This is from Phoenix, I believe. He's on 7th Avenue. I don't know. I think this was in North Phoenix, and you got the car thermometer there, and I think that says 126 degrees. Now, those car thermometers, they're not the most accurate. They're not the most reliable. People, sometimes quote that. Well, it was 138 in my car. That's not exactly the most reliable, but still fun to take pictures of and still get you an idea that indeed it is hot and very hot actually out there. All right, now this is from Andrew up in Prescott. I know he sent in some other videos. Hopefully I was not able to retrieve those, but hopefully I'll be able to get those for you next week. But he also sent in video. I want to check that out. But this is some hail that he caught up there in Prescott. We did have some storms put out some hail earlier this week. That's not completely uncommon here in the summer. Then Buck in Helena, Montana, this time taking a picture of a wildfire up there. And this particular fire that he was taking a look at here, this one was about 700 acres at the time he caught it, and this one's grown quite a bit. Wildfire is a big problem out here in the West too because it has been so hot and so dry. Then Joe and Santan, storms rolling in, and he got pictures of those. And if you're out there toward the East Valley and just outside the eastern side of the Phoenix metro area, eastern Maricopa, northern Pinal County, you got some storms this week, and you'll probably be more likely to see storms this weekend than the rest of us. This is from Greg in Young, Arizona. That's up there to the southeast of Pine. See some storms off in the distance there. And then we'll go to the literal hottest place in the country this week. Usually is this time of the year, Death Valley. And Sally sent these pictures in. Sally in Death Valley. That thermometer right there, that's at the Visitors Center. That's when you come into Death Valley. That is actually a novelty thermometer. It's not the official Furnace Creek / Death Valley thermometer. So that 131 degree reading, yes, I'm sure that sensor says that, but that is not the official reading that they get there. The hottest temperatures so far this week in Death Valley, 129 degrees, which was a daily record. But still, once it gets up over 115, does it matter anymore? I mean, that's just 129, 131. I don't know. It's kind of like those people in the polar bear, what is it called? The Polar Bear Club, the people that jump in the water when it's January and they that icy water up there in Alaska or the Great Lakes or wherever. This is sort of the opposite, right? You go to the hottest place in the country. You go to Death Valley in the middle of the summer, the hottest week, one of the hottest weeks we have ever had here in the Western United States. But I will say this, Sally got some very beautiful pictures because as much of a hellscape as you might think Death Valley is, and certainly the temperature would seem to reflect that, still very photogenic, very beautiful pictures come out of Death Valley. And I really do appreciate these pictures from Sally. Thank you very much for sending those in. And then on their way back, Sally caught this as well as sunset. This is coming down I-17. And that is gorgeous. And she wonders whether or not these sunsets were kind of enhanced by the wildfire smoke that we had around. And yes, there was wildfire smoke that drifted south throughout the early and middle part of the week from Utah. And in addition to that, we had a lot of lofted dust, actually, that has come all the way across from West Africa through the Atlantic, the Gulf, up through Mexico and here into the Southwest. We had a little bit of lofted dust. So dust, wildfire smoke, everything kind of coming together for some added beauty in our skies at sunset. In Arizona, the sunsets are always beautiful, but then you add in some stuff that's not so great like smoke, and it just actually kind of helps to make things look even better. All right, so that's the photo side of Photo Friday, but then on top of that, we've got videos. This one is from, of course, Ryan Seek. It's a time-lapse video of storms developing between Casa Grande and Gila Bend on I-8 down there by where Ryan Seek lives near Maricopa. And they're just incredible pictures. If you don't know Ryan Seek's work, well, this is what he does during the monsoon, especially is his time to shine. I mean, he sends in pictures throughout the year sometimes, but these action photos and these time-lapse photos of thunderstorms and development, I'm sure he could make a multi-hour reel of these kinds of things. I mean, just the stuff that he sent us, absolutely incredible. He's caught anything from rainbows and lightning and vivid lightning and supercells and microbursts and very heavy rain and hail and everything that Mother Nature has to offer around here. He has captured it at some point, so that's a great one. Then Joe and Santan has the storms coming through there as well earlier this week. So we've got a little bit of everything here on Photo Friday. Love to see that. And if you want to submit your photos and or videos, then groffshow@gmail.com is how you do that. There we go. That's GROFFshow@gmail.com for Photo Friday. All right, let's get into it here. The almanac from yesterday. We just missed some records. 115 was the afternoon high. Oof, another day above 115, by the way. 93, the morning low temperature, that missed a record warm low temp by just 1 degree. Averages are at 107 and 85. Now, let's take a look at this. The first 11 days of this month of July have been the hottest 11 days ever in Phoenix. And the hottest 11 days of this month. This is the hottest start we've ever had to the month of July as well. I'm sorry, allergies. It's they're catching up. All right, but you can see the average temperature so far this month, 102.9 degrees. Average high, 114.4. Average low has been 91.4. And again, today we're just going to make these averages go up ever so slightly, I'm afraid. And only 0.03 of an inch of rain so far in the bucket. Now, will this July turn out to be the hottest on record? It is hard to fathom. My brain cannot even comprehend the idea that we will surpass last year's incredible record breaker, which I never thought we'd have a mean temperature in Phoenix that ever exceeded 100 degrees for a month. And not only did we exceed it, we just absolutely shattered it. So I don't think we're going to close out I hope we don't close out the month hotter than last year. But so far, the first 11 days of the month, we're off to a great start, aren't we, folks? All right, taking a look outside right now at 11 a.m., 104 degrees at Sky Harbor, dew point 54, 19% the humidity, light wind, barometer steady. Upper level weather pattern across the nation. I'd love to tell you that it's changed a lot, but it really hasn't. It's a subtle, gradual change that we've seen. High pressure is beginning to shift just a little bit further to the north, and as a result, the flow has gradually begun to shift out of the east in the mid and upper levels, and that's beginning to allow some monsoon moisture to move in. But there is a bit of dry air that's actually entrenched in the flow that's going to come on in here, and that's going to make for kind of a limited amount of shower and storm activity today and maybe even tomorrow. Still, we do expect at least widely scattered afternoon and evening showers and storms once again, and any storms that form would be capable of producing strong, damaging straight-line winds, maybe some brief heavy rain as well, but strong winds and blowing dust would obviously be the big deal. Now, that ridge will continue to move to the north and east, and this weekend we do expect eventually some deeper moisture to come in, better chances of storms. How long that lasts remains to be seen, though. The watch warning map, obviously heat, still the big story out here in the west with excessive heat warnings for us here in Phoenix. That runs now, they've expanded that until tomorrow at 8 p.m., and again, those heat warnings go up into the Las Vegas Valley, the valleys of central and northern California, the Great Basin, the Pacific Northwest. Hot, hot, and more hot. And then here's the convective outlook for today. We've got a marginal risk of severe storms across the central and northern plain states. Out here in Arizona, we're in the green, thunderstorms possible. And while we don't anticipate any organized severe weather, any one storm can become severe. And you can tell that to the folks of Kingman, who last night had this to deal with. This was actually about 6 o'clock last evening. Look at that, a 77-mile-an-hour wind gust. That was at 6:26 p.m. Now, they, of course, as you see there, they only wound up getting a trace of rain out of the deal. That was just a big old bag of wind that came through, but a 77-mile-an-hour wind gust. That is above hurricane force. So there you go. That was, again, last night or late in the afternoon, just before 6:30 p.m., those winds. And, you know, you'd think a storm like that would knock the temperature down, and it did briefly into the low 90s, and then it warmed back up to 97 at about 7 o'clock. So that's Kingman. They're up there about 3,500 feet. So, and they've been breaking some record highs as well up there. All right, here's the precipitation outlook. This is valid through Friday morning of next week. Rain amounts in Phoenix, about 1/10 of an inch at best, and generally 1/4 to 1/2 inch over the rim, parts of southeast Arizona. Whenever we show this map, though, of course, I remind you, your amount will vary, and any one spot could obviously get more than that. It is the monsoon after all, and that's how these storms work sometimes. This sort of represents an average of what you might see. Let's talk about what's going on with this weather pattern in more detail. It's kind of a complicated mess, and we'll get into it now as we explore the models. Here we go, the GFS, the 12Z run valid at 5 o'clock this afternoon. All right, we got the old Bermuda high out there off the East Coast. We've got a ridge out here in the west that's shifting slowly to the north. A deeper easterly flow is beginning to come in here today. And ordinarily, that would be really good for bringing storms off the mountains into the lower deserts, but somewhat drier air is actually kind of caught up in here. So what it means down at the surface for the rest of the day today. Mostly sunny, maybe turning partly cloudy by late afternoon, and very hot once again. High temperatures anywhere from about 111 to 116. Will be close to record highs. And, of course, the hottest deserts of southeast California, southwest Arizona could once again flirt with 120 or maybe even exceed 120. Obviously, up in Death Valley, you will exceed 120 degrees. Even Las Vegas, who, by the way, yesterday, they have their own record going. First of all, they have established 3 new all-time, well, they've surpassed their old all-time record 3 times this week. They've had 118, they've had 120 degrees. They have had 6 consecutive days of highs of 115 plus. That beat their old record of 4 consecutive days. They might make it 7 today if they can surpass 115 again. So there has just been way too many records to even look at or even think about out here in the West. And we're going to see more of those going by the wayside today. Now, widely scattered afternoon and evening showers and storms develop over the higher terrain of eastern Arizona today. They will push toward the lower deserts, but just like yesterday, probably falling apart as they do. But as that happens, we'll see those outflows, those gusty easterly, northeasterly winds from those storms coming on into the lower deserts. They could make it into Phoenix like they did yesterday. And if that happens, you could see wind gusts of about 50 miles an hour in those outflows. And some blowing dust possible. As for rain chances, we're only going to have about a 10 or 20% chance of rain tonight, folks. I just don't see any real meaningful chance, but that doesn't mean it won't happen. But the better likelihood is, again, gusty winds blowing dust. Now, as we go into tonight, then, those chance of evening storms, otherwise partly cloudy and just kind of muggy and warm. Lows, low 80s to low 90s. Tomorrow, not quite as hot, partly cloudy, a little bit more humid, widely scattered afternoon and evening showers and storms will be around. But again, the main threat will be gusty winds and blowing dust. High temperatures, 106 to 111 or so. Here's Sunday. And again, I think this is the best chance we have for precipitation, all right? We have the ridge that's scooting a little further away and is slightly weaker. That's going to set the stage for slightly cooler air aloft. East-southeasterly flow should increase somewhat. The upper low that we kind of anticipated coming in here really isn't going to materialize as expected, but we'll still have some weak low pressure off to the east of us. And so as a result, scattered showers and thunderstorms will develop through the midday and afternoon hours and push toward the lower deserts once again. And these storms could get strong, maybe even some isolated severe storms on Sunday afternoon and Sunday night, with strong damaging straight line winds the most likely outcome from those. But some locally heavy rain can't be ruled out, as deeper moisture should be in here on Sunday. The chance of rain not quite as great as we were hoping for. Earlier in the week, we were thinking in the 40 to 50% range. Now more likely 30 to 40% for Sunday and Sunday evening. High temperatures should be down a bit. I'd say 102 to 107 for Sunday, and more or less the same on Monday. But if Sunday turns out to be fairly active, Monday probably less so. And then we're going to start to see a shift in the weather pattern here as we go to Tuesday. A bit of drier air is going to start to work on in here. Not completely scouring out the moisture, but just widely scattered afternoon and evening storms over the higher terrain. Maybe an isolated storm here in the lower deserts, but we're pretty much going to start taking the rain chances out, or very limited rain chances in the lower deserts on Tuesday and Wednesday. And because of the drier air, temperatures will once again rebound a bit. Now, they're not going to quite be in the record territory, but still highs 110 plus, probably 107 to 112, maybe 113, somewhere in that range for, especially by Wednesday and even going into next Thursday. Now, some signs of the ridge building back to the west across Utah and the more of an easterly flow. It'll be a stronger ridge once again, though. So warmer air aloft, but easterly flow should help to bring at least a few more storms into the lower deserts later next week. So we might put slight chances of storms back in the mix by Thursday. High temperatures will still be above 110 degrees, unfortunately. So if you were hoping for a relief and some really, really big rains to break up this heat, that looks somewhat unlikely. Here's a week from today. This is Friday, the 19th. High pressure sits to the north of us, a pretty strong ridge, but not absolutely ridiculous. Still, easterly flow would be in place, and moisture might be increasing if this is right. Going out 10 days, this is Sunday, the 21st. High pressure is sitting more or less on top of us, kind of drifting around the Four Corners and northern and eastern Arizona at that time. And so if that's right, at least widely scattered storms would be possible. But given the proximity of that ridge, again, this is not a favorable, robust monsoon activity. More of a low-grade monsoon forecast would be in effect. And chances of widespread storms, not that great, just maybe a 20% chance in the afternoon and evening hours. The big story would still be heat, with temperatures above average, likely to continue all the way through the forecast period. All right, looking at rainfall for Phoenix off the GFS ensemble, and there continues to be quite a split camp here, right? So the control member's up about an inch. The ensemble mean is about 3/4 of an inch. Every member has measurable rain. Some are, you got a couple of members there up in the 2-inch range. European ensemble says, nah, it's got about a third of its members or so that say no rain. Then it's got some that say, yeah, a little bit, maybe a few hundredths of an inch. Overall, the ensemble mean is barely scraping above 1/10 of an inch. So, and the European, unfortunately, has been more accurate. But it only takes one storm to blow this out of the water, right? So we could hopefully get at least one big storm in here, but I just don't know how likely that's going to be. All right, temperatures off the national blend of models. Another ridiculously hot day today. Still not exactly Pleasantville tomorrow. In fact, none of these temperatures are exactly anything good. We probably go below 110 on a day or two here through this forecast period, but overall, we remain at or above average for quite some time. Normal high this time of year, the average high 107, drops back to 106. What about this? What is it? 16th, 17th? Somewhere in there. Later this month, starts to drop, but drops all the way back to 106, the average high. Still, we're going to be above average regardless for the next 10 days, likely beyond that until we get a really big push of monsoon moisture and some type of good, one of these mesoscale convective systems to come on in here across Arizona and just blow out this heat. And, eventually that's going to happen, we hope. Most monsoon seasons, save for 2020 and 2023, that has happened. But I don't know about this one. All right, that's going to do it for the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for today. My next video back here on Monday morning, but of course updates before that if necessary, and they probably will be. So we'll, always keep an eye on the channel. We'll give you some updates as needed. If you enjoy these videos, then be sure to subscribe, like, share, click that notification bell, leave those comments, questions, and suggestions. If you really like what we do here, then click that thanks icon below the video. Make those monetary contributions like Clayton did recently. And, of course, you can also always donate to me via PayPal. groffshow@gmail.com is the PayPal address. It is groffshow@gmail.com for PayPal. All right. The executive producer of the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion is my one and only, the sweetest of all time, the Asian sensation, and the proprietor of sweetchildaz.com.org and the Facebook page of the same name, Sweet Child Arizona. Talking about my Michelle. Yeah, there's that Sweet Child banner. So, yeah, give her website a look-see. Check out her videos that are linked up down in the description. Check out her blogs. Check out everything Michelle related. We've got it all set up for you. and our streaming station available 24/7, 365. It is called KMGX. What do we do there? My goodness, we do so much. We play a ton of music. We have a lot of fun, and I hope that you give that a listen. I made it through the video without coughing and sneezing. This is the longest I've gone all day today without sneezing. I've probably sneezed, this is no exaggeration, probably 150 times today. If there is a Guinness World Record for the most sneezes, there's a Guinness World Record for everything. That dude, David Rush, holds a bunch of those. I've got to have this by now. The most mucus produced by a human being in a 24-hour period. You know what? If that's not a criteria, it should be, and I should be in there. I got to have a record for something. You know, everybody should be noted for something. Probably a record also for the longest weather discussion video as well. All right. Well, hey, if you're using these videos as background noise to do work or just, you want to go to sleep and, hey, this video is for you. This is like one of those hypnotic videos. All right. It's very repetitive, that's for sure. Look at those temperatures. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching, all of your continued support. It is so greatly appreciated. Please, want you to be safe, stay cool, stay hydrated out there. Sunscreen, very important. And watch those kids around the swimming pool. And you guys really, when the thunder roars, go indoors, all that, all right? All the stuff we're required to say. Be safe and have yourselves a great Friday and a wonderful weekend.